Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Roborock. This is their Q5 Max Plus. Roborock did send me the sample, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. We own over 70 robot vacuums. Another freebie here ain't going to move the needle for us, so hopefully our data and findings can speak for themselves so you can be equipped to make the best decision for your needs. If you're interested in the Q5 Max Plus, the link to this will be in the video description. Take a look at the box right here. They walk you through what's included on the side, and we have some key tech specs and features right here. Self-emptying, 5,500 pascals of suction, and this does have Roborock's DuoRoller brush design. Now let's go ahead, let's open this up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature, a massive quick start guide, full user guided manual, product diagram with breakouts and labeling, safety information. Next, you'll find the included power cord. It does have a 90-degree end on it, for those interested to see that. We have an extra vacuum bag. We already have one installed in the station. Next, you'll see the vacuum. We'll look at this in more detail. Lastly, we have the charging station here. This is in two pieces. We will have to do a little bit of assembly. Let's look at the vacuum and the station in more detail now. Starting with the vacuum at the top, you'll notice 3 control buttons here, Roborock's logo and branding, and a really unique design and pattern. I like how this looks. Much better than just having that flat black finish all throughout. We got a sticker here with the Roborock app and a QR code for setup. Down here at the bottom side of the top, that's going to be your lever to remove the dustbin. And we have a filter that is replaceable and removable. If you ever need to manually empty this or you want to clean it out, you can do that. And then it just snaps right back into the top of the vacuum. Now we're looking at the side. This is the very front of our navigational bumper with an array of sensors in there. Here's a look at it from the side. We got some venting there. Here's a look at it from the back side with our removable dustbin. Here's a look at the other side with some venting and additional sensors as well. Now for the underside, we got 2 spring-loaded drive wheels, charging contacts, cliff sensors, omnidirectional wheel. We have our side cleaning brush, and we have the DuoRoller cleaning system here. So we can press these in to remove. Take a look at the rollers. Very easy to replace or detangle as needed, and it's color coded too for setup with the instructions. So we got to put that one in first, got the right color, then we can just line this cover back up, snap it into place. And down at the bottom we do have an option to attach a mopping module right here. Now we're looking at the charging and self-empty station here, the base plate, very neat design, cleaning brushes, roller wheels, self-empty channel here. We have 6 screws we're gonna have to attach to get these together. Here's a look at the underside though. This is that self-empty channel. We can visually see if there's ever any clogs in there. I mean, look at that. You can see my fingers right through there. So it's clear and transparent. Phillips head screws to easily remove if we ever have to declog anything. And then here's the 6 screws we're going to attach to the main unit with an included screwdriver and Allen wrench right there built into the station. On the top of the main unit, you'll find this handle right here where we can easily pull off the cover to reveal our already installed vacuum bag, and these just pull right up and out of the way. We have our instructions there. Then we can add our new one right back in just like that, and then that just gets pressed down. That cover goes right back on. Here's a look at your left side profile. We have our charging plug right there. Here's a look at your right side profile. We got some venting and exhaust here. Here's a look at the very bottom where the 6 screws are going to be installed with the base plate. Here's a look at the back side. This is the top and this is the bottom. We have built-in cable management and additional product info and warnings. And lastly, this is the front. Here's the top, here's the bottom. We got the Roborock logo and branding with an indicator light. We have our sensors here. We got to remove this piece of film before use. We have our charging contacts right there. Now let's get this set up. So I have this flipped over. We're literally just gonna set this on top just like that. And now we're gonna tighten all 6 screws in place. All right, everything's fastened down in place. Now we can flip it over. Let me pick it up here. You can see that it's not gonna budge or go anywhere. Now it's time to charge it up and try it out. right, we finished our first clean. Let's take a look at the results. I did intercept it before it went to the self-empty station so we could see the contents of the dustbin here. Vacuum itself looks great. Just your typical hair and dirt and dust that's going to accumulate as it's agitating and cleaning around your house. I got some splatter here too. I think it was near my dog's water bowl, so I'm blaming my dog for some of that. But just your typical mess around the house. Dustbin's been removed. I can see the contents in there already, a ton of pet hair. And then some really fine crumbs and debris. Let's open this up. Filter looks fine still. I already see some fine dust accumulating in there and dumping all over the table now with some crumbs. There's a look inside. Let's dump it out here. Here's a look after our first pass. So big wad of pet hair, human hair. I see some grass clippings, leaves, carpet, fibers, got a little stem there from a leaf, and then your typical food and crumbs you'd find around your house. As for the other side of the vacuum, we have some hair starting to accumulate and tangle on the side brush. Very common, so make sure you keep an eye on that. That's just the hair that fell out from there. But on the main brush roller, this is fantastic. I don't see any hair tangles. I do have a little piece of rice there. And then we have one carpet thread there from the shag rug. This DuoRoller design is really nice though, and that does help to eliminate a lot of the tangles that you'd get on a typical robot vac. But upon further inspection, you can expect a lot of that hair, if it is going to tangle, will actually be off to the side versus on the brush itself. So keep an eye on that as well too. We have some human hair starting to already collect right there, but not on the main brush, which is great, but it's still getting some of it wrapped around on the inside of the roller. And we got a solid amount of dust in this top left-hand corner of the underside. With that first clean out of the way, now we can look at the mobile app. Let me give you a quick overview of some of its key features and highlights. So there's the Q5 there. It's ready at 100%. We can do a full clean or after meals if we want. We can also just select it and go in to view all the device settings. Here's a look at our map. We can see our previous stats up at the top, current battery percentage as well too. Down at the bottom, we can do full room or zone cleaning. So we can add multiple zones. 5 zones can be added on the map there, which is great. And you can pick and choose how many cycles, up to 3 for each zone. Room, you can choose the order right. How many cycles, same thing. So very, very capable cleaning options here. And then here's our customize option in the bottom left-hand corner. We can adjust the suction power and a standard or fast route. And then we have a customize option. So we can custom clean each room based on its settings that you can build out if you want. Then in the top right-hand corner, we got those 3 dots for all of our device settings here. So we're going to enter into that where we can view our cleaning history. So take a look at our clean right there. Very detailed and thorough. Row by row. Pretty cool, and a nice breakdown of the coverage. Then we have our schedule, so you can put this on a schedule and forget about it. Floor cleaning settings, so we can edit the surface type on your map. Carpet boost, and then if you want, you can clean along floor direction, which is really neat and a nice feature depending on your floor and the seams. Auto empty settings, we can adjust those here. You got 4 different options to choose from. Maintenance, you get the idea here when it's time to replace things like the filter, the brushes. Here's all of our map settings. So this does support multiple maps. Robot voice options. So pick and choose your language and volume. Robot settings. So do not disturb. You can turn the button lights on or off. Child lock. Off-peak charging. If you have really expensive power near you, you can do that. Offline map. Couple of settings to go over, but I love the off-peak charging. Pin and go. So basically put it on a spot on the map and then it'll go there and you can do a spot clean. Or you can remote control it if you want right here. So buttons or joystick, spot clean and dock, all accessible from there. And everything else is product related like updates, user manual. We can also share the device down at the bottom or delete the device. So very capable app. Super simple to use, navigate, and customize. Also want to show you that under the Manage Maps option, we can go ahead and choose a map to edit. And then we can add things like no-go zones For those that are interested, we can do that right there in the map. Invisible walls or no-go zones like the red box that you see right there. You can do that here. So simple, straightforward. I love the Roborock app. Very easy to customize and find what you want. Just a nice, clean, and simple layout. So how does our Roborock Q5 Max Plus stack up against the competition? Let's find out. We'll look at some key metrics, tech specs, tests, as well as feature sets to get a better gauge and idea for where this vacuum stacks up against the competition, specifically compared to the averages of over 80 different robot vacuum cleaners that we've personally tested here. So first up, one of the key indicators is going to be cost. This will be a great lens to look at everything else that follows that we talk about. So that's going to help us frame the value and proposition of this vacuum with that price to performance ratio. So then you can decide for yourself if this is the right vacuum for you. So when we're looking at cost, this is a couple $100s below the average robot vacuum cleaner out there. Now, again, our average consists of the top end flagship models as well as your entry-level, very, very basic model. So keep that in the back of your mind as we talk about more features, understanding that we're a couple $100s below average. And you think being a couple $100s below average, we'd be multiples behind in regards to all the tech specs and data, but you'll find out as we progress further along, that's not the case. Just like with our max suction power measured in pascals, we're nearly tied with the average. We're just 200 pascals below average. And a little bit surprising is our max CFM. We record this in-house. We're actually above average by about 2 points compared to your typical robot vacuum cleaner. Again, that costs hundreds of dollars more. But where does that leave us in the real world? So we have a carpet deep cleaning test here, and we got a score of 85, which is 2% below the average of 87. Basically neck and neck, in my opinion, within any sort of margin of error. Moving right along, decibels. This is how loud the vacuum is. We always measure this vacuuming carpets with max suction mode and carpet modes and boosts enabled. 76 decibels compared to the average of 72. So the higher this value, the louder your vacuum will be. I do want to point out though that with this measurement, this vacuum does not appear to be any louder in just listening in an environment of this cleaning versus your typical 72 decibel robot vacuum cleaner. It's not going to be till 80 or beyond that the vacuum might seem a little bit louder, if that makes any sense. You're going to be able to hear this vacuum vacuuming in your room just like you would with the average robot vac at 72 decibels. Next, let's talk about battery life. This is measured in minutes. We actually have an above average battery life with this vacuum cleaner. 240 minutes of advertised runtime compared to the average of 167 minutes. So pretty substantial boost in runtime compared to your average vac. And the reason that we're seeing that longer and extended runtime speaks to Roborock's efficiencies as well as the larger battery capacity. 5,200 milliamp hours compared to your typical 4,000 milliamp hour battery. Typically, on more budget-minded models, you find the lower battery capacity, so it's refreshing to see a rather large battery tucked away in this model. Can't forget about talking about self-empty. This does have self-emptying capabilities. In our average, we see about 67% of the vacuums that we test have self-emptying. Next, we'll talk about the dustbin capacity measured in milliliters. 770 milliliter internal dustbin. That is substantially larger than your average. Usually with self-empty models, we get below average internal dustbin capacities in that 200 to 300 milliliter range. This one is massive at 770 milliliters. Visually looking at it, I wouldn't say it's that large. Doing some investigations online, it might actually be closer to 500, 550 milliliters, somewhere within there. Still, regardless, it's going to be above average. Kind of a moot point though, because with that self-emptying, it's going to go back and empty itself. You don't have to manually empty that. And typically on non-self-emptying vacuums, you want that larger dustbin capacity because you're the one that's having to empty it fairly frequently. So the larger the internal dustbin, the least amount of trips you're making to the trash can. Did I say that right? you will be making less trips to the trash can with the larger internal dustbin. In this case, though, we got the best of both worlds. Next up, we have mopping. This is a pretty big miss for the Q5 Max Plus. This is a non-mopping version. The good news, though, Roborock has so many different makes and models out there that support vacuuming and mopping if that's of importance to you. I know there's still a demographic of users out there that don't care about mopping or don't have floors that need to be mopped, and you'd rather have a vacuum like this. You'll save a couple extra bucks too because you're not paying for a feature you're not using. In our case, though, 67% of units that we've tested also have mopping. I thought it was really interesting that we have the same number of units that support self-emptying and mopping. I'm not sure why that's the case. Maybe that feature is going hand in hand, but that's just something interesting that I noticed putting this together. Next, we have Roborock's very own DuoRoller brush. This is a newer feature and technology we're seeing come on the market for other brands outside of iRobot in the last couple of years. I believe that's due to a patent expiring. So Roborock has taken advantage of that, and most of their models now have that. So typically you only find it on the Aeroforce cleaning system on iRobot models and the Roborock DuoRoller system on their models, but we're seeing that trickle in more and more in the marketplace, but still only 26%. And again, it's really only between those two brands that have the DuoRoller brush design. Speaking of brushes, I wanted to mention Side Brush Reach. This is really a flagship and premium feature, but I would like to see it on this vacuum in the future because Roborock does have some models that have it, but again, only 2% of the models out there have this feature, and you wouldn't expect it at this price point, but it is dearly missed. Another feature absent on this model is video monitoring. Again, that's a very flagship feature. You're seeing it on only 14% of the units that we've tested. Doesn't even have a front-facing camera anyways to have that feature, but I did want to point it out nonetheless. I'd like to see it incorporate that in the future if possible. It's only a matter of time before just about every vacuum has that, and we see that percentage go way up. Another absent feature I wanted to mention is LED lights. There's no built-in LED lights. Again, typically only found on flagship models out there. We're seeing it in about 8% of the devices that we test. So where does that leave us with the Roborock Q5 Max Plus? Let me share with you my final thoughts. So from our data as well as our experience, it leads us to make the conclusion that this vacuum over-delivers for what you're paying for it. So this is for a budget-friendly consumer out there that cares the most about vacuuming performance. You want a really good, solid clean, specifically on carpets and rugs. If you do have hard floors around your house, this will clean great, but it doesn't have mopping. So going to be for a user that cares the most about vacuuming and has no interest in mopping. You also want self-empty and a great customizable app with multi-level mapping. That's who's going to excel with the vacuum like this. Its biggest trade-off is not having those flagship features, but you're not paying for those features either. Also, the object avoidance or lack of object avoidance may or may not be a deal breaker for you as well. Depends how clean and tidy your house is, but the LiDAR navigation makes this very effective for mapping and cleaning around your house. So solid navigational suite, but it is lacking in missing any sort of object avoidance. So just keep that in mind. Really, really solid choice for that select few out there that are looking for vacuuming performance and self-empty above all else.